Ravens Wrap is sponsored by Bud Light, Holiday Inn Express, the Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn, Russell Street Report, the original Green Turtle, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
In April 1959, Art Wall won the Masters, edging out Carey Middlecoff and Arnold Palmer by finishing birdie, 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 par birdie. 1 month later, Ocean City Golf Club celebrated the opening of their first 18 holes. That course has been transformed now into one of the most scenic golf layouts on the East Coast. Come experience 36 of the most beautiful and challenging holes you'll find anywhere. Ocean City Golf Club in Ocean City, Maryland.
Special edition of the original Green Turtles Ravens Wrap Show here on Comcast Beach TV and Delmarva's Rock Radio, home of the Ravens, 93.5 The Beach, broadcasting from the Blue Ox Bar and Grill, 127th Street and Coastal Highway in Ocean City, with Ravens Roost 44 and friends. Give yourself a hand, folks. Who, might I add, made the trip out to Kansas City, Steve, and rooted the Ravens on to the 9-6 victory. So good road trip.
Did you? That was painful.
The Ravens Wrap Show is brought to you by our friends, of course, at the original Green Turtle, the Blue Ox Bar and Grill, the Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Bud Light, jctickets.net, Holiday Inn Express, the Ocean City Golf Club, and I think, did I get it all, Tony?
Steve Pappas.
I think you skipped one.
Steve Pappas.
No, I mentioned the Green Turtle.
You skipped the RussellStreetReport.com.
I just want to say personally Steve Pappas, not the Green Turtle. Because if it wasn't for Steve Pappas, we wouldn't be here.
That is correct. And a big hand for Steve Pappas on his birthday, folks.
Happy birthday, Steve!
I made a fool out of myself in a lot more bars than the Green Turtle. Trust me, it's because of Pappas that we're here.
Well, joining us, Ravens owner Steve Bisciotti, former University of Maryland basketball coach Gary Williams, and joining us now from the RussellStreetReport.com, formerly Ravens247.com, Tony Lombardi.
And you forgot, six-time Parkville Touch Football League champion. There we go.
And how many times voted Baltimore's best, Baltimore Magazine?
Five.
Best
Cinco.
Ravens
5 times.
website. There you go.
We had to change our name.
Yeah.
Well, it's like going from an All-American to an All-Pro. Forget about the football. Worry about what you're doing now.
All right.
Well, hey, this is time of the program. We have our question and answer segment. And first up, a true member of the media, Sam Spiegelman from the Daily Times out of Salisbury. So, Sam, without further ado, why don't you go ahead and ask a question?
This is for Coach Williams and Mr. Bisciotti. If you could both answer this, please. A lot of Ravens fans made their way out here. Also, a lot of Terps fans. They're just wearing purple. What does it mean to you to see so much support from the Maryland fans, especially here in Ocean City, Ravens Roost 44, and all the people that wanted to be here to ask questions to you guys and hear you guys talk?
Well, Gary was obligated to do this stuff for many years. Part of his contract was that he had to show up 50 times, and he had to talk 5 minutes after a loss. And, I live with this stuff through John Harbaugh and watch what he does, and it's completely different than a show. In fairness, I could do this in 100 towns, and I would have this many rabid Ravens fans. You don't get to where we are without having people like you all over the state doing this. So for us to be here, and I wasn't teasing, it's because of Steve Pappas. That's why we're here. And I get invitations from every Ravens Roost in the state, and I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put my wife through it. I'm not going to put myself through it. I don't want to be out there that way. in Coach's world, he was obligated to do it. And so when it comes to a voluntary opportunity like this, it comes down to the kind of people that we grew up with, who we're associated with, who we like to golf with tomorrow. And we will be golfing tomorrow, I can assure you. But it means a lot to me to have you here, and I want you to know that you're very typical of every other town in this state that loves these teams and wants to do well, and I can't wait for Maryland basketball to start. And the one thing that I love now is that Gary sits to my right at almost every game and always has, because I trust him to focus on the game and give me some counsel very quietly. And when December came around, they would have a game at the BB&T Classic on a Sunday, and he'd say to me, I can't be there. And it was like, oh boy, okay, who am I going to have sitting to my right now? All right, should it be my brother-in-law? Should it be? I had to negotiate in my mind who I wanted to be in my ear. Coach?
Well, when I was coaching, the greatest thing for me was have a friend like Steve, because after tough losses, I probably had a weakness. I would really beat myself up as much as possible immediately after the game and go through this. And I don't think I've ever told anyone this story. In 2001, we lost to Duke in Cole Fieldhouse. We were up 10 with a minute left, and Steve Blake fouled out of the game. Drew Nicholas missed a couple free throws, but in the long run, that made Drew Nicholas a great player because he really came back from that and played well, but we lost in overtime. And the next day was the Super Bowl game, and Steve had generously, along with 180 other people, invited me to go to the Super Bowl, given that we were going to beat Duke that day, and we lost. And I remember Steve calling up, you know, this is the night before the Super Bowl, telling me that don't bother coming, it's, you know, don't worry about it, you know, I understand how it is. And, you know, and I just said I was going to be there because I knew Steve would be there for me. And then that's how it works. And with fans across the state, they were tremendous. In other words, since I've been done coaching, I've really gotten a better feel for that, because I think sometimes when you're coaching, you don't understand how much people care about what you do and what the University of Maryland basketball team does. And I've seen that now, and it's just a great feeling to know that in the 22 years I coached, all you people, even though, you know, the Ravens, you know, that's Maryland's football team, is the Ravens, you know, the NFL team, that's what you are and that's what you support, which is a great thing. But the support you gave us, we couldn't have done what we did without your support. So I just hope you understand that your support was very important to whatever success we had. Yeah,
The Ravens and Terps, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Tony, I know you had a question.
How about the Orioles?
Oh, the Orioles too.
The Ravens and the Terps.
Well, we need to get Buck next year. Can you get Buck up here next year?
Huh?
Well, hopefully he'll be in the World
busy
Series next year.
He's busy.
Yeah, he'll be busy in the playoffs. You're right, Coach.
Yeah.
That's good
I've
call.
got to say, one of the things that was so pleasurable about this fall so far is that the Ravens and the Orioles have come together. Not since 1971 has there been a team that was a professional football team and a professional baseball team that were in the playoffs in the same year.
Is that right?
That's true.
95, 6, 7
1971. Not the Ravens, or not the Colts,
The
or the
Orioles
Orioles.
didn't do it in 5,
The
6, 7.
Oakland A's knocked them out all the time.
Yeah. They came close, but not quite.
But not since
I thought that too.
1971 has that happened. But to me, what, as a fan of both teams, that's been so amazing and so thrilling is to watch what we watched when Buck Showalter walks out there as the honorary captain, and the place goes crazy. And the message on the scoreboard, one heartbeat. How great is that? How great is that?
I'll say this because he won't. Steve really has worked hard over the years, not just this year, with trying to really make that happen, where it's a sports town, Baltimore. The Orioles, the Ravens, there's been a lot of work in the background to make what happened this year happen, so it was great to see.
Good stuff.
It really was. And it's important to the fans because when you have an Adam Jones and a Buck Showalter and a Nate McLeod up there in the press or in the skybox, and you can see them at the scoreboard. Then when you have Ray Lewis and Ray Rice at an Orioles game, that galvanizes the city more than they could. It's like the old saying, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts.
Well, play your role. Win.
Right.
That's all we ask. Just step up, invest, and win. And get the hell out of the way. I mean, I'm serious. I'm friends with Peter. Just get out of the way. Just give them a budget, let them run the business, have your say. I don't think anybody knows how much influence I have on the team because I don't care to advertise it. But Ozzie and I are talking about a conditional 7th round pick in 2014 to bring a cornerback in because we lost Webby, and we scrimmaged for 30 minutes about it, and I changed his mind about a certain aspect of the trade, and he was like, that's a good idea, and boom, 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 and then I flew down here to do this show, and I was at practice today, and I did what I did, and I got out, but I don't go when the press is there. They get 20 minutes in the individuals, and then we have practice, and that's when I come out, and that's when I get to sit and talk with Ozzie. So I do what I do, and I'm comfortable, and I think that Peter right now finally realizes that if he just lets the team run with a good leader, that things will work out. And I don't think that there's 10% of this crowd that's not an Orioles fan. And if this was an Orioles roost, I don't think that there's 10% of them that aren't a Ravens fan. So we're all one. We are one heartbeat. We are one city. We just want to win. And I think they're a bad sports model, baseball. I wouldn't want to play against Pittsburgh. I said this to you a couple years ago, and we were sitting here. I don't know that I would be the owner of this team if the Pittsburgh Steelers could have 3 times the payroll because their revenues are greater. I just get out because I wouldn't want to be vilified like Peter has been. So what you have to understand, it's the baseball model. It's really not Peter Angelo's. He's a good guy that actually took this team away from a New York investment banker that went bankrupt, Eli Jacobs.
Yeah. Oh, he was a hero initially when the first 3 or 4 years, and he was right. He was a hero.
And who was the pitcher that he refused to sign because he didn't like the X-rays in his shoulder? And everybody just tore him up over that. It's like, now you're a doctor? But the guy ended up being a bum.
Right.
And his shoulder went out.
Who was it?
I don't remember. There was a guy. There was a guy. As a matter of fact, I was sitting at Bentley's when we were talking about us not signing this guy. He wouldn't sign him more than a 2-year deal, and this guy demanded a 4-year deal. So all I'm saying is, for all you Orioles fans, it's not Peter Angelos. He's not a bad guy. It's the model of no salary cap that makes that an untenable situation for Baltimore versus New York, because if the same thing existed with Pittsburgh, I wouldn't be sitting here tonight because I wouldn't be your owner. Simple as that.
More of the Ravens Wrap Show, more questions and answers we will get to, I promise you, next. Keep it here.
Ravens Wrap is sponsored by Bud Light, Holiday Inn Express, the Ocean City Golf Club, Comfort Inn, Russell Street Report, the original Green Turtle, and hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.